Yo, Heroes of Azeroth. Phase 7's been out for over 3 weeks. Players are snagging their dream epics, their legendaries like Atiesh, and they're taking down mythical bosses like Sapphiron and Kel'Thuzad. But while many players are celebrating, the forums are also exploding with angry comments and confusion too. So really today we've got to ask the ultimate question: is Phase 7 everything we hope for? Before we dive in though, hit that like button and reply with your favorite Phase 7 moment so far. So let's start with the good news. Leveling is just so much better now. It's really thanks to the new rune vendor that allows you to power through all the levels with insanely overpowered builds, and you get a lot of creativity too. This is really a Wild West where players are coming up with their own builds, you're able to one-shot mobs, you're able to mass pull mobs. It is really amazing. Imagine doing huge AoE pulls on a hunter or a mage, or even using the new enchants like spell blasting to deal out some ridiculous damage. And here's the real game changer, which is the invasion boosting. Whether you're shaman, paladin, rogue, even some hunters as well, you can obliterate thousands of these scourge invasion mobs per hour, and that means over 1 million experience per hour. It's some of the best leveling I've ever seen in vanilla. Whether you're rune leveling or you're using the invasion boosting, this is really the golden age of leveling in Classic. I've got to know though, how fast did you level your character using these new methods? Let me know in the comments. It really isn't all smooth sailing though, because while the rune vendor is amazing, a lot of the catch-up systems are confusing and overly complicated. A fresh level 60, they face a maze of gear, catch-up mechanics, complex gearing requirements. Remember the good old days. You would hit level 60, you'd do some pre-biz farming, maybe do some dungeons like Stratholme, and you'd be more than set up to do Molten Core. You'd start progressing through that. Eventually you'd get to Naxxramas. The problem is in Season of Discovery, that's just not how it works. It's so much more complicated, where you have to know every tier set bonus. You might have to join class discords just to understand your basic gearing. You're going to have to scour websites like Wowhead all day. It's like a full-time job just to figure out what gear you need. Even things like the new shoulder enchants, they add this extra layer where it's really hard as a new player to understand which shoulder enchant you should get and why. So are you overwhelmed by the new catch-up systems, the tier sets, the gearing? Comment help me in the comments if you've ever felt lost in this maze. So now let's talk about one of the really bright spots of Phase 7, the crown jewel, and that's Naxxramas. This raid is still the undisputed best in Classic history. It delivers great bosses, rich lore, epic loot, battles that challenge every single role. Every fight from Patchwork to Lotheb to Kel'Thuzad, they're pushing the healers, the tanks, the DPS. Everybody's being pushed to their limits. Meanwhile, the legendaries like Atiesh, they're guaranteeing weekly progression, and talk about a huge adrenaline rush finishing one of those. Ultimately, even if you have a lot of problems with Season of Discovery, raiding Naxxramas is still a huge win, and pretty much everybody enjoys it. So what's your most unforgettable moment from a Naxxramas run? Let's get the stories rolling in the comments. As great as Nax is though, not everything in this Nax is completely perfect. The new Sanctified gearing system, the Argent Dawn buff, they really feel like a missed opportunity. See, in the past, it felt like the Nax gear was really final. Every piece of gear you got was finishing off your character in a very satisfying way. It was like the ultimate upgrade. Unfortunately now though, it really feels like Blizzard is purposely holding us back. Sure, your gear is becoming insanely powerful in the raids every single week, but it feels really not very strong anywhere else. Being forced to have, say, a second gear set just for open world farming, or a second gear set just for PvP, it doesn't feel great compared to how 2019 Classic felt. Add in the new Argent Dawn buff as well, and that is just so confusing. Which level are you upgrading your trinket to? What does that level even mean exactly? Plus, as a procrastinator, there is so much constant anxiety right before the raid trying to max out my trinket just in time, because otherwise I'm really holding the whole raid back. So do you guys think the new gearing system is a step forward or a step back? Let me hear your thoughts below. Now let's switch gears and talk about gold, because who doesn't love gold? Phase 7 isn't just about epic battles, it's also the best time I've ever seen in Classic to make gold. There are just so many ways to make serious money that really were never that viable before. Things like fishing Darklaw lobsters, raw redgill. Cooking is amazing as well, alchemy is fantastic. Farming materials like Karaji stalker venom. Flipping war effort items like runecloth, rugged leather. Doing tarnished undermine real runs, even on a fresh character. Making 40, 50 gold a pop every single time. Really, Phase 7 is trying to fix the gold making problem in Classic, and the opportunities are endless. Plus, we can't forget talking about the new invasion boosting. It is a gold rush, because not only can you level up insanely fast, but you can boost your gold making potential massively too. Would love to hear you guys' favorite gold making method in Phase 7. Drop your secret in the comments. And here is a really bright spot for the future. See, rumors are really swirling about a possible brand new Scarlet Monastery raid and possible content for Classic Plus as well. This means the epic storylines, the character progression we've always loved, it could be evolving into something even greater, something we've never seen before. Imagine wrapping up epic quests like cleansing the corrupted Ashbringer and diving into completely new 40-man, fresh, high-stakes raiding content. It is so cool to me that a completely new raid is coming to Classic. We've never seen it before, and it just is so exciting. So are you excited about the possibility of brand new raids? Type yes if you're ready for completely epic new content. So moving into the class balancing front, for the most part, things are looking pretty good. Every class has its moment, whether it's the Warlocks with their infinite scaling dots, the Warrior, their massive burst power. But there is one very glaring issue, which is communication. Critical news is being dished out on Twitter, and not very many people are in the loop about how many pieces of Sanctified gear to get, exactly what level to level up your buff trinket to, what the new class changes are. Unless you are really plugged in the game, it feels very hard to keep up with what the changes are and why they're happening. So how do you keep up with all the information Blizzard's constantly giving us? Are you on Twitter for all the constant updates, or do you find it too overwhelming? Share your strategy in the comments. And finally, we've got PvP in Phase 7, and let's be real, it feels mostly abandoned. With no new content for PvP outside of those EPL guard skirmishes, which I kind of enjoy myself, but also those massive balance issues. Players are getting one shot all the time. It kind of makes you wonder, is PvP even worth it anymore? Personally, I know a lot of people are hoping for arenas in Phase 8. I know that's pretty unrealistic, but really any kind of new PvP content would be extremely welcome. So are you disappointed with the current state of PvP like I am? Let me know if you're sticking with it or looking for something new. So is Phase 7 everything we hoped for? We've got the epic leveling improvements, a legendary raid in Naxxramas that really everybody likes, and a million ways to make gold. So there really is a lot to love. But the confusing catch-up systems, the gear dilemmas, the communication gaps, the PvP stagnation, it leaves me with some mixed feelings. So what is your verdict on Phase 7? Is it an epic win or an epic fail? Let me know in the comments because your opinion definitely matters. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to really join this community. And don't forget to share this video with your guildmates so we can all be part of shaping the future of Classic WoW.